Hello. In this video we're going to explore exponents and radicals, but we're going to cut right to the chase. I am simply going to work this problem out for you, explaining each step along the way. The problem that is facing us is the square root of x to the 5th times y to the 7th times the cube root of x squared y. The first thing we're going to do is separate out the different terms. So the square root of x to the 5th, y to the 7th is equal to the square root of x to the 5th times the square root of y to the 7th. And the cube root of x squared y is equal to the cube root of x squared times the cube root of y. The next step that we're going to take is to put each term into a fractional notation. The square root of x to the 5th, 5 is the numerator and 2 is the denominator. The square root of y to the 7th, 7 is the numerator, 2 is the denominator. The cube root of x squared, 2 is the numerator, 3 is the denominator. The cube root of y, the understood 1 is the numerator and 3 is the denominator. Now we're going to combine terms in the next step. X to the 5/2 times x to the 2/3. And our y's are y to the 7/2 times y to the 1/3. Then we remember that when we have the same variable multiplied by itself but raised to different powers, the result is x to the 5/2 plus 2/3, and then we're going to have y to the 7/2 plus 1/3. Let's make that a 3. And so we need to come down here and find and add those fractions, 5/2 plus 2/3. The common denominator is going to be 6. 2 times 3. In order to get this one to have a denominator of 6, we're going to have to multiply it by 3, so we'll end up with 15. And in order for this one to have a denominator of 6, we're going to have to multiply by 2/2, which will give us 4. And so that resolves to 19 divided by 6. And so we have our first term, x to the 19 divided by 6. Similarly, y, 7/2 plus 1/3, we're going to have the same common denominator, 6. In order to get 7/2 to have to be equivalent to a fraction with a denominator of 6, we'll have to multiply by 3/3, and 3/7 are 21. In order for 1/3 to have a denominator of 6, we need to multiply by 2 divided by 2, and that will give us 2. And so the result of that is 23 divided by 6, and we have our second term, y to the 23 divided by 6th power, and we're finished.